Coming up on today's episode.
These are photos of a property, and just to describe it to the listeners, we've got a pool that looks very pristine and bright blue. And I just want you to scroll the other way to the next image.
How did that work?
Dodgy advice and bad decisions can cost you big in real estate. We're here to make sure that that doesn't happen. Welcome to the No BS Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Agresta, and it's time to take control of your property journey together.
Hello everybody, my name is Gravias from Collings Real Estate, and I am lucky to be on the podcast with Joe today. We'll be discussing everything to do with social media marketing, innovative tech, and a lot more. I'm excited.
Welcome back, everyone, to the No BS Real Estate Podcast, your listening how-to guide to the Aussie finance and real estate market. I'm your host, Joe Agresta. Now, today's episode is a big one. We're talking about property marketing. And let's be real, no one actually likes paying for it necessarily, but if you're selling, you know you need it. And I know you guys need it because you messaged me about it. The question is, how do you decide what's worth it, what's not worth it, and how to put together a campaign that actually helps you sell for the best results? This one's for anyone thinking of selling their home or maybe your investment property, and even for buyers who just want to understand the why behind some of the campaigns and why they stand out and why maybe some of them flop. So joining me today to unpack all of this is Gravias, Director at Collings Real Estate in Melbourne. He's built a reputation for running creative campaigns that go viral online, reaching tens of thousands of buyers, and he's here to give us the no BS take on what actually works when it comes to marketing your property. So Christian, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's I feel good to be here. It's been a little while since I've had a conversation, and when you reached out to me, I was like, this is going to be fun, and I actually really enjoy this topic. I don't feel like it's spoken enough. There's a lot of real estate agents, they focus on traditional methods, which obviously needs to be done, but I think there's a lot more that could be done.
100%. Like in the age we're in, things have changed so drastically from like, they still do letterbox drops, like I still get the letterbox drops, I still get a door knock, and it's effective, don't get me wrong, but we're in a digital age where digital marketing plays such a big part. But what I've noticed in a lot of real estate presentations is not a lot of people talk about the social media side. And then when I saw, me and Karina came across your profile and we were like, look at these houses, look at the way they're marketed. Like someone's actually doing digital marketing properly. And what a difference for a sale.
Yeah, it does. It actually makes a huge difference for the sale of the property, and even for the agents as well. I think there's a lot of agents, even if they are doing social media, they're still kind of treating it like it's a letterbox drop as well. So they're not really providing any value to their audience, which essentially is on either end. For the agent, that's to try and generate leads for themselves, but also for the properties that they focus on traditional methods when there's a lot more that they can actually do to reach different audiences.
So there's so much, and that's why I'm so excited to unpack it with you, because you're a little bit different. Like you've got a marketing agency, also a real estate agency, and that's why I feel like I see that correlation come out so clearly in your content and how you do properties. But let's kick things off with your story. How did you first get into real estate, and what's that journey looked like for you leading up to being the director at Collings, but also then into the marketing side?
Yeah, I was my position. I was a little bit more fortunate, I'd say, than the average, in the sense of during school, I think I got an ATAR score of like 20 something, and I had this list. So I wanted to go to university. It was it had a list of 12, and the last one was real estate, and it was literally the only one that I actually got into. And I was fortunate. My dad was a real estate agent for a long time. He'd actually retired at the time. And I just kind of went to school and did all that. And then I was like, okay, well, I might as well get into real estate. And he's like, okay. He's like, I'll teach you. So then I remember just walking back in. He had this office. He owned the building, fortunate enough. And I don't think he'd worked in real estate for about 5 or 7 years, something like that. And we'd walk back in. It was like a bit of a time warp. And we'd started. And for like the first, I was 19 at the time. So for the first 2 or 3 years, I really didn't do anything. I remember like it was just, it was kind of just there, and it was just this business that wasn't really making any money, and it wasn't really doing it. It obviously pushed me and things like that, but my mindset just wasn't in the game at all. I slowly started to. I was probably about 21 and a half, 22, and I'd slowly started to take it a little bit more serious. I started to build, and slowly I started getting some momentum. It was probably probably a couple more years, probably actually around that time, I'd started to really dig into some people online. I think Gary V's probably like a standout one that came to my head, and he talked a lot about digital marketing and all that jazz. And then I remember he did a podcast with Tom Panos. This would have literally probably been 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. And he started making some points. And it's actually funny, I didn't watch it in a couple of years, but I watched it a couple of years ago and it was still extremely relevant. Back in 2017, no one is, well, now people are starting to somewhat do it, but even then, no one had everything he'd laid out in 2017, no one has really done it in Australia. So it's pretty wild. So I'd started digging down that and started just making correlations to really understand that marketing really is everything, and you essentially can't sell a secret. So the more eyeballs that you can kind of get on a product, a house, whatever it is that you're selling, it essentially helps.
All the stuff that they do. But what you've been out with Tom Panos, like you're so right. Like I think real estate as an industry, as all the professions that lie within and broke, we're all a little bit behind and playing catch up because things just tend to work. It's like the system works, don't touch the system. It's not broken, it works, let it go.
Well, especially like real estate. Like if you look at real estate, like every industry has evolved a lot over the last 10 to 20 years, but I look at actually real estate hasn't changed.
No, the only difference was when realestate.com came in.
Correct, and that was literally like the last change that there's been. They're still dominating the market. Everything's still the same. Now we've got this little social media thing that's going on, but even then aren't using it effectively to then obviously pass it on to their clients, because a lot of the age of these owners or these owners of these real estate agencies are 50 plus, so they know, and they've done really well over the last 30 years. I'm sure a lot of them have made a lot of money, so they just stick to what they know.
And that's the thing. It's like, why I keep saying like, oh, don't fix what's not broken. But that mentality kind of just plays out and it keeps playing out. And then when I saw your profile and how you're like doing up some of these addresses and how you go through the properties, I was like, yeah, that's what the real estate market's missing, and there's a big market for it. Because social media, people love houses. Like people, even if you're not in the market to buy, seeing a property advertised, sometimes people encourage you to even go to an open. It's like, I want to go see that house. Like, and these are the property enthusiasts. They're kind of like, I don't know if I'm buying, but I'm definitely going to go. And that's what the power of marketing does. It influences you to make that decision. So I think, for people who might not know about Collins, and I love how you said, it's your dad's business and you've kind of been able now to step in and change the way this agency runs. How would you describe what you guys do differently, especially in this Melbourne market? How would you describe it?
Well, I think there's a fair few ways. In what way would you like me to explain more of just the marketing side of things, and what would you...
Well, I think that's probably a big standout for you guys, but, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the way you've integrated that marketing agency ethics and, ethos into the business makes you very different.
Yeah, I think as a real estate agency, I think I've never worked anywhere else, so I'm not too sure, but I've spoken to a lot of people. I think just the approach, it's not, I feel like, and this is just general, I feel like a lot of business owners can be very, you got to be hard, but I think the way they treat staff isn't as good as it should be. So like, I think like a culture thing, I'm always wanting to try and get the best out of everybody. And it's not really a standout, but I think it's just being nice and approaching certain situations, not coming from a place of do this, do that. So I think that's just one thing. I think the marketing aspect, I've added on a media agency connected to the business. That's from, we've got web developers, AI developers, graphic designers, video editors, everything, animators, like whatever's needed. There's a staff for 20. So it's like whatever's needed, with database collectors, just generate like data, like just from whatever we need to cover from A to Z. So like the real estate agent, for example, can sit down with our marketing team, and they can plan content for themselves, or they can plan content for the property. It's all in our house, so it's easier, just a little bit more streamlined. From the AI perspective, we're using it more for like data collection to try hone down on certain people that we believe could purchase the home.
Yeah.
that's probably the only way for a consumer that I'd say we're using it. Everything else is for us to generate leads.
But not in that way that you're thinking, because, there's a segment coming up later in the show that we'll get to. And I think, the AI marketing and digital marketing space, there's so much that people now are sort of like questioning what's reality and not. And when they inspect it, it's so different. That's why when I've seen what you're doing, and I love the tip and support agency, like a team of 20 is huge. But to have that as a service available to your vendors, just even the access to something like that, because I think a lot of agencies, probably one of the things that makes you stand out is they're not equipped to
Pretty
have
much.
that type of service available.
Yeah, no, I think there's probably a handful, 2, 3, 4. Like obviously you've got like the big agents like Ray White and all that jazz that have like a bit of a head office that give templates for their agents. It's not the same
It's all
at all.
You can get I can get a template from HR.
Pretty much.
I still don't know about digital marketing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let me try this out.
Pretty much. And I think there's a little bit of a disconnect there from head office to the real estate agents to actually help them grow a little bit more than they could be.
It's like it shows like Selling Sunset. I feel like that totally changed real estate in a lot of ways for how people view it here. It's like it's made it a very different impression of wow.
Yeah.
And we know those shows can be a bit of horse shit. Like
Yeah.
some of them are actors.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
actually real estate agents or buyers advocates. When you look at that show, you're addicted to it because it's marketing.
Pretty much.
They're not going to put that, 2-bedroom with a granny flat out the back and do like a wide pan shot of
Pretty
this
much.
granny flat that, has his carpets and no, that show would be called Hornets.
I'm sorry.
Watching it on shit. But you get what I'm saying?
100%.
This is the
I agree.
power of it. So like,
Yeah.
you guys going, like, they're charging for marketing. So
100%. And that's it's funny how like we've had like a few of these Australian shows that have occurred. But
Lux listings, I think.
Life's Listen, there was a Melbourne one. Yeah, that didn't I didn't watch it. But it didn't last, I don't think.
You know what? Like people that are in the industry like you and I've been doing this over 16 years, and I didn't recognise one agent on there.
Yeah.
That to me says, well, who are they?
Yeah.
It's like, why have I never heard of these professionals in Melbourne?
Yeah.
I know so many like really, really great buyers advocates on that show that they were getting vendors advocating themselves, and then it makes me question the reality behind it.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, you're right.
That's interesting. I look at it as well, like if I'm still waiting for a real estate agency to somewhat emulate that within their own business to showcase properties, but I think a lot of them can't even get the marketing of like the sorted first. But yeah, that's just an observation that I made.
No, and look, I guess, one thing I want to switch gears into is the marketing dilemma, and we're starting to talk about this, but it's such a sticking point when people are selling. No one necessarily likes spending money on it, especially like, I'll paint a picture for our listeners. If you haven't sold a property before, typically when you call an agent, you might interview maybe 3 potential real estate agents, and when they come in, they'll go through like their appraisal, they'll walk around the home, but then there's a point where they sit down, they start to talk about their marketing service, and there's different tiers for different budgets, and then you have different inclusions. And I found this is going from, well, what you find is something is always similar. I read it the other day, but this woman said there was literally no difference between the 3 offers I got from 3 different agents, but the price gaps were completely different. Is this just gouging? Is it worth paying $1,000 per 850 letterbox drops? And I think some of these things, going back to what we were talking about earlier, this is just kind of like, we've always done this system, just let it roll. It's like,
Pretty much.
pay $1,000, it's like pay $150. It's like, I'll pay you $1,000 and do a social media campaign.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, what's the conversation that you typically have with a vendor who does push back marketing costs?
It's interesting. Like, I'm not for or against any bits of marketing. Like, even for example, like a letterbox drop. We've had things in the past that a neighbor or someone down the street or someone has purchased the property based on being so close to the location. And so I think it just becomes more about like how much it's going to cost and how effective it's actually going to be. So for example, I think $1,000 for 800 or $850 for 1,000 letterbox drops, that seems like that's like over $1 per drop, which seems costly, where for example you could put $1,000 into a social media campaign and you'll probably reach you'll probably reach at least 20,000 plus people. So I start weighing that up, and I think I always like to offer everything, and then obviously work down. And we do not charge 8 That's a lot of money for letterbox drops. Like that's a margin on that. But I think it just really comes down to just like really making sure that we can optimize to get the property into every single aspect and not shut any aspect down. Because if we can pull one buyer from realestate.com, one buyer from domain, one buyer from a letterbox drop, one buyer from an email, one buyer from a social media campaign, well then we've got 5 buyers that are going to compete on the day. And maybe the person that sees the property on social media doesn't actually buy it, lifts the price of the property from like 20,000 or 30,000 or whatever it is. So it's all about just getting as much attention as you can to get the people to the property to then obviously try and
start having those conversations.
Correct.
I think that's a really important point that you bring up. It's the channels are so different. And you're right, like you attract different demographics. Like I'd imagine that someone may be in their 50s or 60s. And anyone, like I still go to the letterbox and get my letterbox drop.
Yeah.
I have a lot of real estate agents that door knock, and to be honest, it's very effective. It is. They have a chat, they're non-invasive, they're not sticking around. It's not like when you get energy come to your door and all of a sudden I've signed a contract and World Vision then came past and I've signed up to a charity where I'm paying $50 a month that I didn't know about. It's not, it's very different. Like, I think people have this impression that, oh God, they're still doing door knocking, but it's like, no, it's true. What's the best way for me to tell you that house is up on the market and it just sold? And then, do you want to sell your house? It's like all of a sudden that conversation sounds interesting. I thought my house was worth 700. Oh no, you got those double doors. Oh yeah, I do. Come in. Yeah. We spend a shitload on those double doors. I'll tell you, they're double glazed.
Extra 200,000.
That 100% put all the money. Yeah. It's true about the channels. It's like someone in a different demographic or different ages, different groups, different walks of life are going to see this property and be attracted to coming to see it. And every single one of those buyers or those viewers plays a role in your sale.
Pretty much. So it's just trying to be a bit more open-minded to all the channels that can be used. Like even for example, videos. A lot of vendors could push back on a video, but at the moment, if you look at TikTok, if you look at Instagram, everything's optimized. Even YouTube Shorts, everything's kind of optimized for video. So you just want to create a strong piece of content that you can put out. But then again, it comes to the execution. And historically, over the last 5 years, we've just seen agents like turn up. It's this guy. We need a good hook. And we need something to actually draw the audience. It needs to be a bit upbeat, and we need to get the audience to watch the video to then pass it on to their grandma or their child passes it on to their mum. Like there's all different audiences. Like I really understand how parents are very influenced by their kid's opinion.
Yeah,
like a 16-year-old, and I've seen it many times. Like when I was going really hard on socials a couple of years ago. I got a lot of listings, probably about, not a lot, but I'd say less 3 or 4, that the 16-year-old or the 18-year-old or the 21-year-old kid that followed me would say to their parents, you need to call this person. And then I would get called in, and that's how I would get it. So, and that's the same thing to properties. The child knows that the parent's looking for a property. So then they send it to their parents, say, hey, this is the property that I think could suit you, and then, or could suit us. And then, so there's just so many things. I think it goes back to the real estate agent as well. When they're marketing the property, for example, they're going to make a video, it's their execution is off. So there's a few factors to that.
The typical real estate video I see, it's always the drone shot in front of a property, and it's the agent going, welcome to number 1 switch.
Yeah.
That's my first thought.
Yeah. Like, and you've got 3 seconds. Yeah. Like you've got to get them. Like, or else the consumer's long gone. But the agents just use that a bit too much to promote themselves.
It's the same format. Right? It's like maybe it worked a few times and it still does work on certain audiences, but it's like, it's the showmanship of it.
But I think it goes back to the agents are taking the whole letterbox drop, all that stuff that we normally do, like send an email, just sold. They're taking that mindset into this social media realm. Yeah, and it doesn't correlate. Like, okay, I understand that, and you can do that, but really, at the end of the day, no one cares. Like,
well, social, like we talk about this a lot in the body, like when we're talking about business, and we literally look at advertising. Like when you look at the type of content on Instagram versus TikTok, it's quite different. TikTok's always about raw, organic, real talk. But then when you go on Instagram, it's very showy, it's very glamorous, and like, show yourself in the best light, people give a crap about who you are. Whereas if I jump on TikTok, I can have like, messy hair, up and go, let me tell you why you should buy it in Bundoora. And people listen. And I think that impression, that mentality, like you said, of carrying traditional values in advertising, which I think is very outdated. Like, gone are the days where you go, what's that ad? I probably shouldn't know it. This is gone bad. Do you remember that? Get a bug. It sounds like a fruit market. When you try and apply those principles into advertising.
Are you talking Chris and Murray?
No, they're a good example.
Yeah.
Right? Like Chris and Murray, right? We all know it. But it's that type of advertising that now people just scroll past straight away.
Yeah.
It's like they almost need to be duped into going, oh shit, am I watching an ad?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Pretty much.
And is that what you're kind of finding?
Yeah, I just think it's like, it just needs to be somewhat entertaining in the fact of like, when I always put myself in the consumers, I put myself in my own shoes. Like, why am I watching this? We're all selfish.
Yeah.
We're literally all selfish. Like, if we're not happy, like, if we're not getting what we need, we're gone. And then again, 1 second later, we're gone. 5 seconds later, we're gone. 10 seconds later, we're gone. So to actually get someone to watch the whole minute video, like, you need to be providing them a level of value in the sense of entertainment where you're making them laugh, where you're informing them about something so they're learning, or they're just, or they're interested. You know, there's got to be something there that draws them. So, like, and that's what I think is missing. Okay, the people are doing videos and things like that, but we're just missing that element. And you'll see a lot of real estate agents, they're posting the same, everyone's creating the same thing. So to really cut through and get a consumer interested, I think they need to be, creating something that could go viral and get attention, whether, like I used to do. So my first, was probably my second video. I did a Joker that was dancing around the house, and it exploded. It got hundreds of thousands of views, and it went everywhere. It went actually on the news, and went everywhere, and we actually sold the property through it. Yeah, and even it was wild. So I think there's just so many things. And that one, we went down the entertainment path. So we created, I don't know, I think 10 videos. All that was the entertainment path. Because I thought, okay, like, I'm going to play on that and just keep going with it. And it was working. I actually was watching some of the videos, created one in Glen Iris. It was actually, who's that Christian Bale? He's in that movie, the murderer.
Oh, Psycho.
Psycho. We created
American Psycho.
Yeah, whatever it was. I actually watched it recently, and I was like, oh my god, this is a bit too much. But this is a bit too much. But I think it just comes down to, it was always like entertainment factor that we would hit on. Like, even now with the property videos that we're creating. So we've actually got one. We've built a brand around a house. So it's called. So exactly like developments. You know how developments they name it, and then they start creating content and they bring people through and all that jazz. We've kind of done something similar. So you can find it online, Homes by Homie. We're currently in marketing for a property, and we're creating a lot of content around the property, where we've got the owner speaking about why he built the property. You've got us that are running through.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, running
still
through.
Connected.
Pretty much, and like, he literally discusses. So it's a bit of a mix. I'd say it's a wellness home. So there's a narrative that we can work around it, and we know we're actually targeting specific type of buyers.
Yeah.
So we know that the specific type of person that's going to buy this is someone that's extremely interested in their wellness. You know, they either go to a wellness club. So there's a lot of wellness clubs that are starting to open up around, like St. Haven. There's the Preston Wellness Club. There's heaps. There's one in the city. Like, there's so many that are starting to open up. So we've made a list of that, and now we target them through social media. So anybody that has interest, so if you follow that page, then that would be somewhat of your interest. So then we're sending the property to them. So we'll be doing this for the next couple months. It's just a social media campaign for now, but then obviously we'll launch it to the public market. We, for now, we'd love to sell it obviously straight through social media, and that's it. Yeah. If we don't, then we'll open it up to other avenues and continue to run. But the aim of the game at the moment is just get content. And already right now, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a figure. I think the views on just that page, and someone can actually go and look at it. We've probably uploaded about 15 to 20 videos. A few have gone 50,000 plus. There's probably been, I don't know, collective eyeballs of 300,000 over the last couple of weeks just on that property. And in the back end, we've got ads that are running. We started ads last week, probably generated 15 leads. Now, how many of those are somewhat interested. I've got 2 people that actually want to come and see the home. And even for myself, I know, like, obviously it's amazing to sell the house, but even just this is a call to real estate agents. Like, you're generating leads from buyers. Okay, maybe they kind of like they don't want that property or whatever it is, but then you can use those buyers for other things. I've met a few vendors in there that have homes that
want to sell. And
correct.
It links to like not just them buying this house, but they could even buy another one.
Correct.
Stop this.
Correct. So for the real estate agent, he can generate more leads for their business. But also you sell the home through this platform, and you're not going to get. I just know, like, even the 300,000 views. Okay, not all of them are our ideal market compared to like a realestate.com and domain. Regardless of the fact, like, you never know who's watching, who's going to send it to the right person. Where realestate.com is a little bit more, for example, list form, where someone actually has specifically search in Northgate for that price point or whatever it is to them find it. Where a lot of people, they might not be wanting, like our mindset is, they might not be wanting to buy a property today, but they're into their wellness, and then this ticks every single box where they're just like, you know what, we're going to make the move. This is the house that I've always wanted, and it's just popped up, so we're going to make the move. Yeah, that's the thought process.
I love that. That was a really perfect example, and this kind of leads me into the next question of, can you give an example of where a strong campaign made to the final sales result?
Well, I think there's been a few. So either they've bought the property. So we did one a couple of years ago. It was just an apartment. So I told you about the story where the buyer bought the property. The Joker, he bought it through the video. We had another one that bought through TikTok. So they watched the video online and then came and they purchased the property. And then we've had people turn up that have been underbidders, or they were the first bid. So they were able to, for the vendor, they were able to lift the price. So it's not everyone's always buying through social media, but they're helping the vendor in regards to achieve the price they want, because they're there to lift it. So there's so many factors to that.
I like that you can actually share like those strong examples though, right? It's like the fact that you've got like it's so specific, it's like it's effective. And the Joker one, I can't believe it. We'll throw that up on the screen for everyone tuning in so you can go and reference it. So I think there's this, always a debate like that we've been talking about, like the digital versus traditional, like you said this perfectly before, there's always a balance, right? It's like every channel is effective. And I guess I love the favorite thing that you've talked about is your approach to entertainment avenue, emotional avenue, like especially one with like these are the styles and the ways that videos are presented. I think this leads perfectly into our next segment, which is something new. Normally we have a segment called Reddit myth busting that we do with our guests, and it's because our listeners, shout out to you guys for submitting your questions every week and directing us to things that you say online. And these couple of submissions came through for properties being advertised. And this is why I thought it would be a perfect time to bring it up with you and change our Reddit segment slightly today. We're going to play a game called Good Ad or Bad Ad. Now, I've got some real listing examples here. Now, don't worry, we've cut out the addresses and the agency names. I'm not about shitting on people, sort of. But but I want you to give us like the no bullshit take on what your thoughts are. Like, what is good, what is bad, and how should vendors think about their marketing if these particular people are selling? What would you do different?
It'll be interesting to see, because I think you'll show me, but then a lot of the real estate agents, generally they're okay with their realestate.com and stuff like that, unless they put some weird photos, and sometimes you can. Surely you haven't find out. Okay. Yeah, I think you're probably going to stump me if I see like some interesting stuff. Like, how is this still happening in 2025? Okay,
I probably will.
I hope not.
And these are like, to give you context.
Come on, real estate agents.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
And look, this is I'm always going to put this caveat with real estate agents, not yeah, I'm an ex-real estate agent. You do get a bad rap and get lumped in with people that do a shit job. There's good and bad apples, and this is what this show's about. It's about highlighting the good agents that exist, giving them a platform to shine, because we need to do that more the same. And this is a perfect example of the chalk and cheese we're going to talk about with why Christian would never do this and why it still happens. So I'm going to show you this one here, and I'm just waiting for my screen to load up because these This listing was actually added in the last 20 hours, so I found it this week. And now I'll show you this first photo. So not a big deal. These are photos of a property, and just to describe it to the listeners, we've got a pool that looks very pristine and bright blue.
Mm.
And I just want you to scroll the other way to the next image.
Oh. How did that work?
Yeah.
Wait, was that in the ad?
It was in the ad. So let me describe what you can see, and we put it on the screen. So what you can see is a green pool now. It's the same image. And what's happened on this agency listing is they've accidentally uploaded the photoshopped version as well as the original. So it's the exact same photo. One has a bright blue pool and the other one has a green algae-looking pool that looks dead.
Was this sent through?
But, yeah, this was sent through.
Wow, that's crazy.
Bring to our attention. So it blew my mind when I saw it. Almost like I had to email that listener. Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. I'm just going to show the producer and what we're looking at. So this was the image.
Okay, that looks good. That looks neat.
Right, and then this is the reality.
That's funny.
That looks like that looks like something from an apocalypse.
It's so bad, right? What's your reaction when you see something like this?
Yeah, it's just like it's just little things, like little 1%ers. How does that happen? I just don't understand how something like that happens. Like it's not like it's so minor. It's so minor. It's like, but I kind of feel bad for the agent because it's kind of like an admin thing, essentially. That it's like, yeah, but then again, maybe the agent loaded everything up into the folder, didn't delete one, and then admin just loaded it all up, and yeah.
And then it's all clear together, and you're like, you're done.
Yeah.
So I'm curious on keeping.
Yeah, pretty much.
And like from your perspective, I guess, where's the line between enhancing a photo to make it look, its best? Like I think there's always, a slight normal editing, like, good lighting and, contrasting colours. That stuff's pretty standard in any photos and advertising. But what about things that like would lead a buyer to come to that property and you get hit with a green call?
It's hard. Yeah, that one's an interesting one. But I think in general, the one that always comes up, which I think I'm like, what do we do? It's the one with photographers. So the way they take their photos, they'll make a place look so much larger than it actually is. Yeah. And that's just the way they shoot the property, their lenses. And so it's like, how do we control that one? I'm not sure.
That's a really good point. You're trying to make the house look presentable. And I think this is something that I always say, like, you've got to understand that marketing is making something look presentable so you're attracted to it visually. So I guess this comes down to staging as well, like, properties that don't get staging versus properties that do.
Pretty much,
like
yeah.
How much of a difference it makes.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Anyone looking to like sell their place, like don't sell a vacant, like get staged. Because even for example, like the rooms, and this is like playing in illusions, like essentially if you walk into a room that's vacant and then you put furniture in it, for some reason it just feels a lot larger when there's furniture in it rather than not. Yeah, it's just. It is what it is. I don't know how to explain it, but it just does.
That's right.
Essentially,
it's big. Okay, it's big enough. And then the day we got our badge test, it's huge. And it's the perception. It's
pretty much.
It was really hard to kind of put that. It's like that example though is straight up bullshit. But it's but when you go to the property, like it's going to be undone very quickly that it's wrong. Like how would you handle? If that was your vendor who had a pool that was green, would you be telling them to drain it, fix it, or do anything to that?
Well, it depends. It depends on the situation. I would definitely, obviously, the first thing I would be saying is, yes, let's get this done, 100%. But then you get some, and it's very rare. It is very rare, but like you get some vendors that, I'm out of money, there's nothing. And then you try and get them onto something. You can use this company which gives you the money, and they'll still give you an excuse. Like they're just so hard. And then you try to explain it to them like, this is going to get you. It's not an expense, it's an investment, because this is going to get you the outcome of exactly what you need in every form, from fixing a pool to painting a room to getting staging to going to social media to doing a video. Like they are all in their minds. Most of them look at it as an expense. Where if they change their mindset to know this is an investment, because you're by fixing the pool, you're removing doubt. By getting furniture in, they can visualize you know, people can't really visualize, like, especially myself, I walk in somewhere, I can't visualize like how it will fit. Like my furniture, I'm not sure the sizing. So by putting furniture in, people can visualize. And the illusions of the room that we discussed makes it a bit better. By painting the wall, you know, it's just that extra 1%er, like fixing the gutters at the front, making the video to attract more eyeballs, to then running it on social media, which is going to get you, 50,000 more viewers. With that 50,000 viewers, you're going to get one or two people that will potentially bid. So it's all just viewing it as an investment rather than an expense.
I think that's a really important thing you bring up, though, because I think that's how agents get a lot off the brunt of a bad rap, because they're the ones that officially do the uploading. But a lot of the time, what's not seen behind the scenes is the vendor that doesn't want to do it.
100%.
Or the one dictating, Chuck, can you just change the colour bucket?
It's hard to say. And because I'm trying to think of examples, like, in my time, I don't know. I don't really have that many vendors that will fight me to not do something. So, yeah.
Good job.
So like but I know there are examples. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I know there's situations that vendors are tough. But then in saying that, let's flip it to the agent. How attention for detail is the agent to point this out? There's so many things. I'm not sure, but they've obviously fixed they would have noticed because they've made it blue. So there was probably a notice. So maybe the vendor will push back. Who knows?
Or you've just not decided to do staging and not decided to take that investment. Switch your mindset, keep an open mind. Like, this is a property that you've nurtured for many years, possibly. You want to give it the best shot on market that you can. So having an open mind and seeing the power that I need to show you one more. Okay. So I'm going to show you the photo again. So just look at this one first and then scroll to the next image.
I'm always like freaking out in my head. I'm like, imagine it's my agency.
It's not good. I couldn't find one bad thing. I looked on coins. And you know what? When I was going through them the other day, I was like, imagine I found one.
Yeah.
I'd probably go,
what's happening here?
So that first image that he's looking at, we've got a backyard.
Yes.
Overgrown grass, washing line in the middle, pretty gloomy. Well, it looks like a pretty shitty day. And then the next version that you see that actually got uploaded online. Now, these two got uploaded by accident as well, different agency. And magically, the grass is cut. It's taken from a different angle. The sky is bright. And it looks like a different property. One of our listeners found this listing and said they validated that it actually was done with AI. So they took the same image and said, can you do this up? And this was the result that they got, which matched what was on the listing.
1,000,000%. That's funny.
Yes, so it's...
But why didn't they just do this one? Because they made that one look decent. Why did they just do that?
How can you fix that one? You should have seen the other photos that came with this listing. Shocking. What this person did is what got uploaded online. If you go to they went to the open for inspection for this house. And these are his photos from the actual inspection on the other side.
Oh, got ya.
So he
okay.
Oh, wow, this is
great. It turns up and he's like, what is going on?
And he took so many photos.
That's funny.
And he compared them to the rooms that they posted internally. I'll upload them all on the screen or on the show notes so you guys can check it out. There's no address attached and no agency. I didn't want to do that. What's funny is if you see the internal, the floor's totally peeled, right? And the images of the kitchen, like this Art Deco, really cute area. And the reality that he took the ceiling's falling off. There's missing cupboard doors. So it's obviously a house that either is probably ready for a type of demo or they're just trying to offload it, like they can't afford to do anything and they used AI to enhance the images of everything.
That's funny. I think it's like, even again, like going into this, like the agent would have like been like screaming. I believe, I don't know, I could be wrong.
No, I believe it.
He would have been like yelling at the vendors to say, do this, do that, do this, do that. And they've said, no, we're not doing anything. Yeah. And then they've just literally, and he's like, okay, I'm going to have to do something. Even with the AI, even with the AI enhancers, like, is it bad in the sense, like, has he made the property look different or?
No, it's totally different.
Yeah, you can't
it's like, imagine the bones of what the house could look like.
Yeah, okay.
That's what's...
No, you can't do that.
Yeah. So there's a different, like I said, and I'll say this to you guys who are all tuning in, polishing something up, right? Very different. Like we all do it. It's like you're not going to upload a photo online when you've got 16 pimples on your face. Like you'll probably use a tool to airbrush them out and that's your profile picture. Yeah. It's the same kind of concept. It's like you want to present it well, but it doesn't hide it. It means you do your due diligence. You get to the inspection and you see stuff and you go, okay, is that all? It shouldn't be anything that big for you to notice. It's like sometimes we had back in my real estate days where we've had to do photo shoots in the middle of winter, pissing down with rain, the campaign and the photos had to go ahead. But gee, like that, the weather just did not do it justice.
Yeah.
It looked terrible. We had photo editors that would come in and make it a bright blue sky. And no rain happened that day. Don't mind that the pavement looks wet.
Yeah.
It didn't rain. And this is just not to say, is it false advertising? I don't know. But it was something that we did to make it more appealing. Because if you put it up with a grey sky, full of rain, dark thunderstorms in the back, you probably have a bad vibe looking at that house.
Yeah, I think generally we'd always like they had the blue sky and they brighten it up, like they brighten the images up, and if there was something in the image that, like for example, an item that they needed to Photoshop out for whatever reason, it was left behind and the photographer missed it, they would quickly Photoshop it out. But it never changed the look of the property or anything like that. It was just,
alter it.
yeah.
Much. That one's just a special.
Yeah.
I used to say that in my hunting, and even you, like I put a call out for this episode today. I said, send me any content that you got, and we got a few submissions, but these were the top 2, but there weren't that many, so I'm not too concerned that
That's
this
good.
happens a lot,
Yeah.
because you guys are scavengers. I don't know how you find the shit that you find.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a majority industry issue, but I think when it's up, it's pretty.
It's funny.
Very fun.
I think the problem, it's not like the agents generally do a good job in that aspect. Like there's a few anomalies that obviously we just saw, but I think it's just more, as we've been touching on, more the fact of educating their vendors or even themselves about new ways other ways to also market to assist the campaign, and then the content that's being created being okay.
We thought, because we've had a bit of fun. Thank you for playing that with me. It was the first time.
No worries.
But I want to flip it a little bit, because we've talked about, the many reasons, and this is why I wanted on the podcast today, because I know you're going to give me that honest, outlook and all of what you guys do. And I want to highlight what I just think you do such a good job at accurately representing properties, because I can honestly say, and just to give you this reassurance, I tried to look at your list and to see if there's anything, like I'm going to talk about this again. Someone's going to go on his website and go, "What did this guy on? He's got all this shit." I couldn't find one thing like that. Honestly, it's so cleanly represented. I think any vendor of yours with conversation and their strategy, and that it's different. Like I don't see the same stock standard approach. That's what I like, because I think with a lot of agencies, you see the standard kind of approach applied to every single house. It's like there's a strategy that works and it's kind of linear. There's maybe 5 different strategies that you rotate between. I think you personalise it a lot more based on your vendor and your property. Yeah,
even this is not something that we've kind of touched on, but going into deciding if your property should be an auction or a private sale. Now, the Australian way is auction, and that's what every agent pushes. That's what every vendor believes it should be. But a lot of I think the home actually needs to be looked at and actually decided what is the best strategy for this property. Is it an auction? Is it a private sale? Is it an expressions of interest campaign? And 9 times out of 10, it's always auction, when maybe 5 times out of 10, it's probably not the right move to make. So that's just something else to that falls under marketing to consider. Because it just depends, what's going on in that suburb, and a lot of the data. If you actually have a look, so you have real estate agents showing realestate.com or property data's Saturday results, and they'll say, look, 70-something% clearance rates. But if you actually look at the data's skewed, because let's just say there's 1,300 auctions on the day. They've only reported 900 auctions. So really, there's 400 auctions that haven't been reported on. And generally, if an agent doesn't report on the auction, that's because it passed in. Let's just say 8 or 7 out of 10, because maybe the agent's some can't be bothered or they can't get to it. Yeah. But let's say 7 out of 10 are passed in. So then if you lift up those numbers, well, it's not 70% now. It's probably 50-something. It's 60%.
That's true.
So they use, there's so many things that can be looked at to actually work out even certain pockets. Let's just use an example. We've got agents in Heidelberg West, Heidelberg Heights, and Belfield that really focus on that pocket. And for whatever reason, that's just a pocket that has been working really, really well to private sell everything. And we've been getting a lot better results. And we've got a lot of statistics to compare it to agents that have been going to auction, and we just compare and say, okay, well, these are our results. These went to private sale, and then look how many went to auction, and look how many passed in. So that's just an example that I can just think of off the top of my head. But yeah, I think that's another thing to think about when it goes to market.
And that's a really important point. Like, auction versus private sale versus, pre-market and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that is a big conversation to have. And you would say that that's based on like property, suburb or location?
Yeah, every property is different. Even though 9 times out of 10 or everyone's auction because of the block and whatever. It's that culture. It's that culture of what we've been brought up in. But essentially, there needs to be a conversation more about what does your property suit. Yeah, and I'm not saying auction's not great. I'm just saying every property needs to be looked at and actually discussed about the methods, which it's not really a conversation.
I've been an agent myself. I know what we used to sell. We had 3 packages. It was the same shit. Yeah. Every package, it just had more of a spend. And, the strategy we would adopt is in reality, real estate agents aren't trained on marketing. There's internal training, right? Like head office might throw a marketing course to be paid.
Whatever.
But it's not something that I feel like why you're here in my eyes is if you're a vendor listening today and you're like, go check out Christian's content, go check out what he's doing with property, because it makes a big difference in your campaign. And this is part of that due diligence that you do when you line up a few agencies. I think if you had Christian's business in, maybe 2 other agents, if you compare, you'll see a stark difference in approach, because a lot of people are not, like we said it at the start, I think a handful of agents are probably adopting this type of strategy properly, like as in digital marketing, social media marketing, and how to do it and how to execute it in such a personalised way that works with the house. The fact that you even did the Joker in a property is so out of the box. You're like, no, you can't do that with real estate. But it's like, no, but we did.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's just honing down on that. We still do everything that a traditional agent does. Like we'll go in and the agent will show 10 things that they're doing, and we're doing that 10 things, but then there's like another 3, 4, 5 other add-ons that we're just tapping into.
Yeah.
So it's just, so it's like that that Mexican commercial, why can't we have both? That's literally that. It's like, why can't we just do both? Yeah. It doesn't need to be one or the other. It can be literally both. Traditional with new age methods.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge and wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I think I always like to leave with a final thought. Like if there's a vendor listening, or even other real estate agencies who are thinking, how do I engage Christian services for my campaigns and my plans? What's your kind of like tip or guidance to these guys who are thinking, I'll do the real estate agents first, or agencies that want to engage in marketing side, and then sellers who are thinking about putting their house on the market?
Yeah, I think for a real estate agent that wants to have a chat, they can always just reach out to me, and happy to discuss the way that we do things, and I can go in depth and actually show them and maybe give some strategies on the way to help, even from generating leads. So I'm just going to throw this one out because I think I'm probably the only real estate agent that's actually doing this. I'm going to claim that, but I actually don't think anyone's doing it. But if you, like, for example, if you want to generate just leads for yourself or your agency, I would really be going really, really hard on AI SEO. So trying to get up the ranks on ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, because everybody's moving away from using Google, and because it's just so much easier that you can just get the answers. So if you optimize yourself to be that agent in that local area where people search, like you'll pop up and you'll be able to generate more leads. Industry, create the content that the consumer wants to watch. Don't fuel your ego to get yourself in front of the camera. Like, you're doing this for the consumer, and if you think about the consumer, you'll be able to get the result that you're looking for, rather than focusing on yourself. Yeah, and I think just even this is to agents, and this is also to everybody, people looking. I think just keep an open mind. Like, we're moving so fast, everything's changing. Like, everything's moving so fast with AI and the digital world and social media and whatever it is. Like right now, I saw Meta launched their glasses, their Meta glasses today, or it's coming out at the end of the month. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, great. Like, I'm going to be able to buy these glasses and then everybody's going to start wearing these glasses, because in 5 years' time, I don't see us having the phones. So then there's going to be advertising that we can sell through the glasses. So I'll give you an example, augmented reality. So I'll be wearing these glasses, you'll be wearing these glasses, you'll be walking through Northgate, and I'm going to have an ad next to Chemist Warehouse. There's going to be a little part next to maybe the tram stop, and you're going to be walking past, and you're going to look in that direction. You have the glasses, and you're going to actually be able to see my ad pop up in this space. So I'll be able, let's say I've got a property around the corner, I'll be able to run an ad to that property and say, hey, it's 32 Hacketeer Street. And you'll see the ad and be like, oh, that's a really nice house. And then you'll be able to look at it and then maybe go, and just connect to it. So just keep an open mind to everything that's going on. Don't, and when you're marketing, it's not only traditional and it's not only the modern era. It's literally doing both and doing everything.
Solid advice, solid tips. I love that. And this is why we have to keep future thinking front of mind. So
essentially,
that's so. I can't believe that's the world we're living in, and that's the reality that we're going to be facing. So, well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. If you haven't connected with Christian, but you're thinking about selling your home, or for our professionals who do tune in, if you're thinking about engaging him for your agency needs, for marketing and social media content, please reach out to him. All his details are in the show notes below. And as I always say, a call costs nothing. Give him a ring, have a chat. It's not going to cost you anything. Maybe a cup of coffee if you're the nice one. So book in a conversation, have the talk, and see what advice could do for your property sale or your marketing campaign. This has been the No BS Real Estate Podcast. You're listening on Spotify or podcasts. Make sure you subscribe, leave us your feedback, and connect with us on what you want to hear next. Christian, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's episode.
That's a wrap for this episode of the No BS Real Estate Podcast, powered by Abodi AI. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it. If you're looking for more guidance on your home buying journey, you can visit www.abodi.com.au for expert advice, property insights, and the tools you need to find the right home with confidence. If you're already on your journey, you can also download our app. Just search Abodi AI on the App Store or Google Play. Have any questions or want to connect, you can follow us on Instagram at abodi.com.au or send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.